Harry, this is Lord Potato, and this is what if 5 menaces went into, I mean, not one, were thrown into RWBY. But yeah, now before I continue on, I want to mention one thing. So I accidentally called Yang Blake, even though Yang was the girl with yellow hair and basically RWBY's sister. Blake was the girl with black hair and didn't show her cat ears until later on. But of course has a bow on her head, like a bow. And of course, Weiss was the girl who has white hair and kind of bratty a little bit, but yeah. So I should mention those characters because God, I fucked up part one. I'm thinking of just redoing it, but then again, not really. Screw it, I'm just gonna leave it on like that. People can complain to me that I just fucked up the names, but yeah. But whatever. It's just because I haven't really watched RWBY. Like, I watch bits and pieces. I think I've been watching a whole season like 4 years ago. I know it wasn't part one, like not part one, volume one. I think it was like volume 2 or 3. I forgot which one was it. But yeah. So I just want to mention that right now. But yeah. Also, I know teams usually contain of 4 characters, then not like 5. But don't worry about it, because there is a whatever I want to do. Okay. So I'm gonna keep all 5 menaces right here. But yeah, let me begin into this what if. I'm also going to do the redo of what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Deadpool. But don't worry about it. But yeah, I have an idea for it. I'm going to change a lot of things from the old what if to a new what if. But yeah, but not the point. Let me shut the fuck up. But yeah. So we go into, well, Majin. Majin is right now thinking in his head. Of course, he's ignoring everyone. This is where, well, we go into RWBY right now talking to Yang, her sister, about, like, she made one friend. She also met, what's it called, Jordan, or whatever his name is. The guy with blondish hair, like, she met him, the vomit boy and all that. And of course, she takes, I guess that's one negative friend. And this is where, well, she says, and I'm an enemy, Weiss, of course, or Weiss mostly. Of course, this is where they talk to Blake and all that. Of course, this is where, well, Weiss does come back and kind of annoy RWBY and all that, saying that some people here are trying to sleep and all that. And this is where Yang says, not you again, and of course, start kind of arguing. This is where RWBY says, that's true, how about we all just calm down? Yes, there people is trying to sleep. This is where, well, when they kind of turn around just to see if people are actually listening into their kind of conversation and all that, because, well, they're kind of screaming and all that. The only person that's fully kind of awake and kind of looking at them kind of confusedly and why the hell they're staring at him mostly, this is where it's mostly Majin. Majin is mostly kind of just thinking of something, and of course, where, well, Majin was kind of writing on a paper a little bit. This is where, well, we're not really, well, yeah, he was kind of writing on something on a paper and all that. And Majin kind of, with his coldish black eyes, is kind of just staring at blue, silver, and purple eyes. That's where Majin says, well, what do I have, something on my face or something? This is where, well, Weiss says, no. This is where they all turn around, and this is where, well, RWBY says, sorry about that, Majin. This is where, Majin says, whatever. This is where Majin went back to just stare at these notes or whatever. He's not really staring at notes. He's really just staring at something that he needs to kind of control. He basically has a list of things he needs to control a little bit, but yeah. So, of course, we go into a time skip of, well, the next day. The next day is just them being in locker rooms. Of course, kind of getting out their weapons. RWBY is kind of talking to Yang, and of course, Yang is saying, so sis, you're going to be in a team. This is where RWBY says, I don't need a team. I don't care about people. I just need myself. I can be strong by myself. This is where, well, Yang says, aw, but little sis, you know, you can definitely get a team and all that. This is where RWBY says, wait, what about you? Aren't you going to be on your little sister's team? This is where, well, Yang says, about that. This is where RWBY says, Yang, I forgot Yang's last name. And this is where, well, she says, you're going to ignore your little sister. You want to be with your friends. This is where Yang says, kinda? This is where, oh, RWBY goes, God damn it. This is where, well, we go into kind of, I forgot his name, Vomit Boy, you know, blonde hair dude. blonde haired dude kind of going, well, getting his locker and all that. And of course, over here is Weiss and what's it called, the red haired girl, kind of talking about being on teams. And this is where, well, I think his name is Jordan. I forgot. Is it Jordan or George? I think it's George. No, I don't remember. Of course, he hears what's it called, Weiss kind of talking to her and all that. And that's where, well, the guy says you should definitely go on my team and all that. I know I'm accepting people on my team and all that. He's like trying to somewhat smooth talk to, well, Weiss, but doesn't really work. But yeah, that's where Margin, he's getting to his locker room, but of course there's people blocking it. That's where Margin says, excuse me, Ruby, is that your name again? Can you move out of my way a little bit? That's where Ruby says, sorry about that, Margin. That's where, well, Yang says, oh, you're Margin. So, Margin, can I have a little word with you? That's where Margin passed by her. And that's where, well, Yang says, is he just straight up ignore me? Ruby says, yeah, he kind of does that. And that's where, well, Margin gets to his locker and all that. He kind of types in the code and all that. And kind of pulls out mostly his cross because he kind of has it on there. Well, not his cross. Mostly he just takes out other clothes. Mostly like a black hood jacket and just puts it on. That's all. He kind of just uses this for just extra storage. It's mostly these lockers are to keep your weapons in. But Margin has it just for extra storage, okay? Margin didn't give a shit that much. It's where, well, both Ruby and Yang say, is that supposed to be your weapon or something? Margin says, wait, we're supposed to put weapons in here? Ruby says, yeah? This is where Margin says, no. Why? I thought we just had to put extra storage in here. This is where both Ruby and, well, Yang says, really? This is where Margin says, whatever. This is where, well, Margin still has a cross and he's like, well, he kind of pulls out the cross from underneath his hood and puts it right in front of him. And of course, it worked. Well, Margin says, well, I'm going. This is where, well, Ruby says, okay, bye, Margin. This is where, well, she's trying to be friendly with Margin just because she wants to know if Margin is kind of friends with her. Because, well, Margin's the only one that kind of listened to her and didn't really scream at her or didn't even ignore her that much. Well, kind of answered some of their questions in the beginning. Of course, they are the same age, and Ruby's just trying to make friends slowly. But yeah, Margin is not trying to do anything like that, but he's just calm most of the time. But yeah, that's where, oh, we go into, well, the time skip of, well, them being outside. Every person being outside. Ruby, Yang, Weiss, Blake, Jordan, the red hair girl, a girl who kind of screams out, well, mostly pinkish hair and all that, and her friend who kind of has like this kind of Japanese kind of outfit and all that. Japanese, Chinese, I don't know. And has that little pink stripe, but yeah. This is where, well, other people are out there like with Eisen, who's right now standing on that platform, looking like a menace, wearing all white and wearing his, well, having his sword to the side with him, really not caring that much. This is where, oh, to the next to him is Madara, who Madara has right now armor around him. He just has battle armor right now, red battle armor, just like the well, mostly like the Senju armor. So yeah, it's different material, but of course he wanted to make it the similar material, same one. This is where, well, it's kind of like having a ton. That armor does have a ton. It's pretty damn heavy, but Madara's right now just having it on like he doesn't give a shit that much. This is where, well, he also does have like kind of the purplish bluish outfit underneath the armor, but yeah. This is where, well, Madara doesn't seem to have a weapon right now on him, but don't worry about it. This is where, if you already know his main weapon, he does have it, okay? Just saying right now. This is where, oh, next to Madara is Doflamingo. And Doflamingo is basically wearing this kind of whitish coat, this pinkish kind of flamingo coat behind him also. This is where, well, he's wearing kind of pink, like, I wouldn't say leggings, I would say pink, what's it called? Sweatpants. And of course, well, he's wearing shoes. Now, of course, he's just laughing. So, well, to the next of the Flamingo is Virgil, and Virgil's basically wearing his outfit like what's it called, original canon of his world, but yeah, mostly that dark blue outfit and looking all drip as hell, having the sword right next to him, but yeah, mostly holding on to it, but yeah. And this were next to, well, what's it called? Well, kind of, they are there mostly in the middle between what's it called? Yang and Blake. Well, they're all separately, but yeah. Of course, Ruby is right in the very end, but of course, next to her is actually Marching Park. Now, Marching Park basically just looks fucking plain as fuck. All black outfit, kind of a little bit of white and all that, like a white shirt underneath and all that. A black jacket, mostly. Well, it's not a black jacket, it's a black long sleeve and all that. It's where, well, he's also, what's it called, having, what's it called, bandages on his forehead. Don't worry about that, he just keeps that most of the time. Like, he doesn't give a shit that much. And of course, he's just there chilling. Like, he doesn't have any weapons. But yeah. Of course, where the kind of director of Beacon kind of says, okay, everyone, you are supposed to, well, he explains about the teams and how they're going to be selected. And of course, it's just how if people will open their eyes and look the person in front of them when they land, they're teammates forever. Of course, this is where, well, Aizen says, well, kind of have to just go in my senses. This is where, well, Madara says, fuck. This is where, well, half of them kind of say fuck because they don't want to just get some random dude. So, of course, they're just going to have their eyes fucking closed and not try to look at someone. But, yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Aizen kind of interrupted the director and says, what happened if we just have our eyes closed and someone looked at us? Does that mean they will have to follow us and we don't know about them being there? The director says, well, you're going to be fighting with your eyes closed? Aizen says, perhaps. Yeah, so the director says, don't. God. He didn't actually expect someone to actually ask that. This is where Madara says, got it, eyes closed. This is where, well, Virgil says, eyes closed. Good. Doflamingo says, I can do that. This is where the director says, son of a bitch. Whatever. He then goes on for the next kind of instruction. It's mostly them going to the middle, getting this kind of like pieces, these like artifacts, then going to protect them with their team. Yeah. This is where, well, all of them understand, and this is where, well, they say, but launch. Mostly Jordan, whatever the guy's name, says, wait, what do you mean launch? This is where, well, a bunch of people start getting launching up in the air, and of course Jordan is launched. This is where RWBY is launched, and this is where Margins launch. Margin seems to really care less. He's right now up in the air and not caring that much. This is where Jordan is right now just flipping around the air and saying, no! But yeah. This is what, well, everyone lands like a original cannon. This is what, well, we go into Virgil landing. And of course, Virgil lands right now on the ground. And right now just has his eyes closed and right now spreading his senses. This is where, well, he can do that since he has what's called, well, demonic magic. Because yes, he does have all his abilities. This is where, well, Virgil kind of turns around, still has his eyes closed, but this is where he finds one of those dark creatures. I forgot what they're called. Those dark creatures named Grim. And of course, this is where it's like a bear right now roaring at Virgil. And Virgil looks at it, unsheathes his sword, just a tiny crack, and then sheaths it back. And this is where he walks away. I am the storm that is approaching. Okay, yes. The theme song for Virgil, that does happen. And of course, this is where the beast is just cut down to a million pieces, while Virgil is walking away like a fucking badass. This is where we go into Aizen. Aizen managed to, well, land down, but of course not landing down fully. He mostly uses flight a little bit. He is a Soul Reaper. And of course, people can still see him, even if he has the power for Soul Reaper and all that. It's mostly the power, not him being invisible half the damn time, but yeah. This is where, well, Aizen has his eyes closed, and of course, just using, well, what's it called, spiritual pressure? Well, not spiritual pressure, mostly spiritual energy, to kind of find where the others landed. Because if he has to be in a team, either by himself or with a team, he's going to be with the other fucking villains from different worlds. And of course, he doesn't care which villain he's on, well, mostly a team, mostly. It's Madara, Doflamingo, fucking, just, he goes on. But yeah, of course, Grim actually appears behind him. It's this big, kind of like bear also. Well, mostly like, not bear, it's multiple hogs kind of rushing at him, but they're all Grims and all. And this is where, well, he says, Black Coffin. Kill them all, but yeah. This is where, well, he walks away, but he doesn't care that much. He's walking out smoothly, but yeah. What the fuck am I talking about? No, I'm just kidding. But we go into the next person. Next person lands on the ground by crushing the ground. And of course, this is Mother. This is where Mother looks around. But right now, he just uses chakra sensing to kind of sense where the others were. And how can, what's it called, chakra sensing and the other abilities work, even though some of them don't have chakra knowledge? Mother kind of, well, kind of put some special things on the other villains for the fact he can actually sense them. Well, so of course, this is where, well, what's it called? They will not really put something on the other villains. It's mostly that they can actually, for some reason, sense each other with their different element abilities. But yeah, it's kind of confusing to them, but yeah. It's like it's something that the God Slayer predicted for them to kind of sense each other. But yeah, it's kind of odd for them. But yeah. Of course, Madara is right now sensing where they're at. And this is where, well, a giant kind of, not big bird, but a bird nonetheless, kind of flies down a grim another. And this is where, well, it's trying to attack Madara. And this is where Madara goes to hands and says, Fire style, fireball, jutsu. Destroys and then walks away. Right now, the corpse is just burning. This is where we go into, well, the next people that appear. This is where, well, next is Doflamingo just not even landing down, using his strings to fly up in the air right now, grabbing the clouds. This is where, well, he kind of, well, not land, well, he does land down first, but mostly does it gently. He just because of the strings. And this is where, well, he kind of senses where everyone's at by using his observation hawking. Because yes, Doflamingo does have hawking, well, armament hawking, conqueror's hawking, and even observation hawking. So of course he's trying to sense what the other motherfuckers have. But yeah, of course he managed to find them. But of course, this is where a Grim appears. Mostly just like Turtle appears because he's near a lake and all that. And of course, it tries to roar and try to chomp on Doflamingo. And Doflamingo laughs. Die. Ito no mi. String of web. Well, mostly say spider web. This is where he sends like a spider web at, well, the turtle. It gets cut into a million pieces. This is where, well, Doflamingo says, pathetic. Now it's time for the others. Okay, I just like laughing in what's it called, Doflamingo's laugh. Okay, just leave me alone. So I kind of just ran my own with this laughter. But not the point. We go into Margin Park now landing. This is where Margin Park lands pretty peaceful on the ground. This is where, well, he says, so, time for me to either look for those idiots or just look for the artifact. Fuck, I'll do the artifact. This is where, well, he can actually, well, sense where they're at. But of course, he just doesn't care that much. He just goes on. Now, I should mention the dust that Margin Park has is yellow, not a bluish color, okay? No, it was yellow, okay? Just for a couple of reasons, it's supposed to be lightning, but yeah. But of course, we go into Margin kind of walking away, but yeah. Walking around, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into the battle, well, almost a 30-minute time skip, about the battle of between RWBY. Well, RWBY's kind of burn even team right now, like Yang, Blake, and Weiss. And also, what's it called, like Team Jordan team or whatever. Well, see Jordan, the red hair girl. Well, I should remember. So, the other team called Jupiter or whatever, JNPR, mostly their names, but yeah. Of course, they are dealing with two of Grim and all that. Mostly a flying one and also a scorpion. And of course, they're shooting at it or even just what's it called, so I've been calling him wrong, not Jordan, John. Of course, where John, whatever. John is right now running, and of course he's being launched around, but yeah, he can't really do anything much. And of course, he's just commanding his team, mostly the orange hair girl, the black hair dude, and even what's it called, the red hair girl, to kind of start fighting against, well, the scorpion. Of course, while RWBY is fighting against with the what's it called, giant bird. This is where, well, they're dealing with these kind of creatures until they hear a giant ass creature appears. This is where someone gets the launch, and of course the person lands right now down on the ground, right now kind of being pushed backwards. This is where he says, God son of a bitch. This is where a giant Grim appears. This thing says a giant spider, right now roaring. This is where, well, Jupiter and also RWBY's team realized that, holy shit, what the fuck? Who's fighting that? This is where the scorpion and even the fucking bird seems to be smaller size than that spider. This is where, well, RWBY realized one thing. It's Majin who's fighting it. This is where Majin says, damn, this thing is so quite annoying. This is where he says, heavily cross. This is where his hand glows into yellow. And of course, this is where a cross appears from the skies trying to smash the spider down. This is where the spider is resisting the power of Majin. This is when Majin says, oh, come on, just die already. This is where, well, the spider managed to push the cross away and right now roaring. Of course, this is where Majin says, ah, shit. He dodges another attack from the spider, kind of trying to claw it. And this is where, well, Majin says, where's the others? Mostly the others are dealing with the same problem. This is where Aizen is dealing with a spider also. Of course, this is where, well, what's it called? Virgil's dealing with a spider, Madara and even Doflamingo are dealing with different spiders. But yeah, this is where, well, the leader of Beacon kind of sees this and says, I see, those are kind of having problems. This is where, well, the mister is about to go until, well, the Beacon kind of leader says, let them fight for a second. I want to know their skills for a second. The mister says, why? You realize some of them don't even have weapons. Are you sure about that? Do you think I didn't know about their little skills and how they managed to get into Beacon? This is where the mister says, what do you mean? This is where, well, he explains for Madara. He goes into Madara's detail. Madara's a skilled fighter, and the fact that he doesn't have his weapons technically on him, like showing off. He has them on him. He's able to kind of put them in a spot and then pull them out like nothing happened. This is where, well, we go to Madara's fight. Madara pulls out both of his weapons. A scythe, right now a scythe that has a chain connected to a, what's it called, kind of fan. But of course the fan is called, it's called a RWBY. And of course Madara starts fighting against the spider. The spider sends like this darkness pulse out of his mouth like venom and all that. And when it tries to hit Madara, Madara blocks it with his fan. And mostly say RWBY. He says, reflect. This is where the thing reflects and the attack just smashes into a spider. This is where Madara adds the lightning into the, what's it called, scythe, and starts cutting down, what's it called, the spider's legs. Mostly just one of them and the second one right in front of the spider. This is where the spider kind of falls down. This is where Madara says, fuck you. This is where he punches the shit out of the spider in the head. Boom. This is where, well, the mistress is saying, is that even impossible? Able to use elements without the crystals or even dust? Is that even possible? The Beacon leader says, of course it's possible. There's some people that has this special abilities in using their aura. Of course, Madara's aura is kind of different, more denser, kind of evil a little bit, but still has some hope in being good. This is where, well, Madara then goes into, well, having what's it called, this bluish aura around him, this darkish bluish. This is where he says, Susanoo. This is where, well, his eyes, well, transform into the 3 Tomoe, then it transforms into, well, the MS. This is what, well, a Susanoo ribcage appears, and this is when the spider tries to just pierce him with 4 legs, it doesn't do jack shit. This is where Madara, he gets out of his ribcage Susanoo, and then rushes up the spider's kind of legs, because, well, the spider managed to kind of stick one of his spider legs into the ground next to him, and of course it's right now stuck. This is where Madara starts using chakra and of course running up the leg. And of course this is where when he gets up, he does cut one of that legs off. And this is where, well, Madara said, I'm going to kill you, fucker. This is where he still adds lightning, but this time he adds water chakra into his, what's it called, scythe. Right now transforming the scythe from a kind of bluish color of lightning to a purplish color of lightning for storm release. This is where he says, storm release lightning style. This is where, well, he then just, what's it called, wait, no, Purple Lion's different from what's it called, just Storm Release. This is where, well, it's not Storm Release. It's what's it called, just him going into a different infinity of lightning. Well, different color mostly. Purple Lightning. This is why he said, Purple Lightning. Harakiri. Scythe slashes. This is where he starts sending multiple slashes with his scythe and starts cutting down, well, the spider really fast. This is where he's adding lightning chakra to his legs. And of course, he appears behind the spider, mostly in the big kind of like ball of the spider. And this is where, well, Madara then kind of jumps up from the giant ball of the spider. And this is where, well, Madara then activates his MS again. And his eye starts bleeding now when he activates, well, the Susanoo. But this time having one of the Susanoo's, well, ribcage have an arm and have a sword. And this is where, well, He then swings the sword down to cut, well, the ball of the spider. This is where Madara does it. And of course, this is where some people are impressed with Madara. This is where Madara, he's really just fucking up the spider. He kills him one shot, but yeah, when people are kind of seeing it from far away distance. This is where, well, the mystery was shocked to see Madara could do that. This is where Madara's eyes are not bleeding, but of course, this is where he closes them just to conserve energy. This is where he just jumps off and just runs off. But yeah, this is where the mistress says, wow, that's impressive. She looks at the screen. This is where, well, the beacon director then talks about Aizen. Aizen is right now fighting against a spider. And of course, when the spider attacks, it misses. Every single time it tries to hit Aizen, because it's mostly looking at an illusion. Aizen's sword projects illusions, what the director's talking about. When every time I talk about how Aizen's winning, it's mostly how the director's explaining it to the mistress. But yeah, this is where, well, he says that Aizen can easily predict illusions, making illusions with his sword, his super rare specialty. He doesn't really call the name of the sword. It does have a name, but of course he doesn't say it most of the time. He easily is right now dodging the spider and cutting its legs. Aizen isn't one person to be lightly messed with. He's a smart kid. He's also dangerous and very manipulated half the time. He's able to manipulate a lot of people. In the academy when he's able to manipulate the kind of teachers. Some teachers and all that, being able to pass grades. This is where, well, that's why Aizen was kind of selected to begin and all that. This is where, well, Aizen kind of says, well, he kind of puts out his hand and says, well, not hand, mostly puts out his sword and all that, still has it. This is where he says, Haro, number 99, element, well, mostly he says, dragons of element destruction. This is where a purple dragon appears right now behind Aizen, and this is where Aizen rushes towards the giant spider. This is where he goes underneath the spider, but swings the dragon from underneath. This is where the dragon goes up and rips through the giant spider, having a giant ass hole. This is where the spider dies, and this is where some of is kind of, well, not, it doesn't really bleed, does it? I forgot if it bleeds or not. Well, it doesn't bleed, it just turns into dust, but yeah. This is where Aizen says, pathetic you are. This is where Aizen just kind of just gets his hair to the perfect, what's it called, well, the little hair right now on his face and all that. You know that one string of hair and all that? Well, not one string of hair, just that string of hair right now on his face kind of went up, and this is where he puts it back down and says, sure, already know that I'm stronger than you, Aizen said. This is where, well, never go against a true god. This is where, well, the director says, you know, so he has a god complex. Same with Madara, they both have god complexes. But whatever. This is where, well, he then goes on for Doflamingo. This is where, well, the mistress then asks about Doflamingo and how he doesn't have a weapon and is able to be here. This is where, well, the director says about Doflamingo's abilities. Doflamingo is a man that doesn't have, well, not a sword or weapons and abilities, but mostly a weapon. He doesn't need a weapon. He's surely strong without a weapon. The reason why is because he has a special element ability, and that is able to use strings. This is where the mistress says, what are you? This is where, well, we go into the little screen, and of course, this is where he shows the screen, and this is where Doflamingo is right now cutting the spider's legs off pretty easily with his strings. You might not see it, and no one else can see it. It's a very tiny little string that he can use. But these strings are very powerful. Some teachers try to test abilities on Doflamingo, but Doflamingo always ignore and test and all them other things. But from the little, well, information the strings that Doflamingo has, is the fact that he can use them very, well, vastly wide. He has very creative ideas. Of course, he can sing, he can kind of use those strings to connect in the sky and kind of swing from the air, kind of making him look like he's flying. Of course, he can also use the strings to cut people down, or cut anything down. The strings are so sharp itself, it can cut through steel, it can cut through diamond, it can cut through anything. Of course, this is where, well, He then explains that the strings can also be able to connect people, also manage to control people, just like what he's doing right now with the spider. The spider is right now kind of using its own claws to kind of stab itself, and of course, the word the flamingo then says that it's time for you to die. Ito ito no mi, cage bird. This is where the strings started going slowly. Well, not slowly, very fast towards the spider. And of course, this is where the spider is caged, but this is where it's cut into a million pieces. This is where the flamingo silent. This is where, well, never mess with that fucking guy. This is where, well, the director says also has a god complex. This is where, well, Mr. says, what the? His power is strong. This is where, well, the director says he was not in the academy, and I know a little bit about his information. Just a little bit less about his information, but yeah. Well, he was in the academy. The director kind of, a little bit knows about what Doflamingo's, a little bit of his tricks, but not that much. Of course, is where, well, the kind of beacon director doesn't actually kick out Doflamingo just for the reason that he's here and actually not causing trouble. But yeah. Of course, this is where the next person he talks about is, well, Virgil. Virgil. He is, well, very powerful. He's not normal for being a normal human, no. He's extremely fast, strength, and other things. A bunch of teachers managed to talk about it. He's also very smart and calm and collected. It's what, well, but the one thing that kind of stands out for the most is his sword. To be able to cut through anything, similar to the strings that Doflamingo has. The sword that, well, Virgil has can be able to cut through any single thing. It's a very powerful sword. It's what, well, Virgil, he's right now fighting as a spider, and when the spider attacks him, Virgil's easily dodging his attacks. This is where, well, the one thing he's excellence in his, what's it called, power is his speed. He's an extremely fast person, very fast kid, young adult mostly. But of course, Virgil can also be an extremely fast person if you don't keep your eyes open. Here's where the mistress closes her eyes for 1 second, but the director doesn't. But still couldn't even keep up with Virgil's speed in the screen. This is where Virgil appears 1 second in front of the spider, and then now, just barely even a second, appears behind him. The spider. It's what, well, all you hear in the background of Virgil, because he is hearing music and he is hearing his theme song. I am the storm that is approaching the vine. Okay, you get the point. But of course, well, that happens, and of course the spider is cut into nothing but just billions of pieces. This is where Mr. was shocked. She's like, oh, holy. The director says extremely impressive for him. This is what, well, the director says, but still has no team. None of these people are having teams. Either they're looking for each other to kind of team up, know about each other's abilities. But it's kind of shocking. This is where, well, he then looks at the last screen. Margin Park. Margin is, well, very strong and powerful. Very good at martial arts. But going against a spider like that and not having weapons shows for him to be kind of difficult or different from the others. This is what the mistress says. Does he have a special ability to be able to bring weapons out? But the only thing that I seen before from him was able to somehow cross it from the sky, or even try to even use it to block attacks. But he can't use it in a very fast time like the others, or other abilities. The director says, Margin Park. Even though he also does have a god complex with the others, even Virgil, he might be strong in using that ability of a cross. But of course, don't take him lightly. His martial arts and all them other things is pretty strong. He's extremely fast and, well, very fast in reacting to kind of attacks. A genius, a battle genius, exactly. But the one thing is for sure, he should not be taken lightly that much. That's where, well, Margin dodges an attack, and of course dodges another attack from the spider. That's where the scorpion managed to get killed from, well, Jupiter's theme or whatever. RWBY is kind of trying to fight against the giant bird. Of course, is where, well, she's kind of trying to focus on the bird until she sees Margin almost, well, gets kind of pierced, like in his stomach. But this is where Margin manages to kind of uses the cross to kind of take off the spider leg before it actually does pierce him fully through. This is where RWBY says, Margin! This is where, well, Yang and Blake and even Weiss tell to RWBY to kind of focus. This is where, well, even though they're kind of worried about, well, the other person who's right now fighting a giant Grim, a spider one. This is where, well, Margin coughed up a little bit of blood. And this is where he takes out the spider leg, and this is where it's kind of being healed slowly from his cross. But yeah, he's trying to heal it right now with the cross ability. This is where, oh, he looks at the giant spider, and the spider's right now screaming in pain, whatever. And this is where trying to regenerate his own leg out. But yeah, the other spiders try to do the same against fighting against the other, well, menaces, but the fact that they could not regenerate fast enough to be cut down to 1,000,000 pieces. But yeah, or even just brutally murdered. But yeah, of course, this is where, well, the spiders right now just kind of trying to fight against Margin. But yeah, Margin saying, God damn it. This is where, well, RWBY does shoot out a bullet at the spider, and this is where the spider kind of screams in anger because one of his eyes got shot out. But this is where, well, it kind of just shoots some kind of dark acid at, well, RWBY and RWBY's team. And this is where they jump off the tower a little bit. But this is where the tower does kind of melt. And this is where, well, RWBY is trying to get back up. And this is where, well, RWBY kind of says, Margin, just... she doesn't know what to do because that giant Grim does have a very powerful skin and all that. And Margin was the only one to be able to affect the damage and all that. This is where she knows she has to get rid of that giant Grim that's right now flying. But of course, then there's the giant Grim that's a spider right now fighting against Margin. She doesn't want to lose her only somewhat friend. This is where, well, Jupiter is trying to help Margin fight against the giant spider. And of course, this is where, well, she doesn't know what to do. RWBY is right now in a very confused loss. This is where she kind of cries. She wants to help her only friend a little bit, or help her team. This is what, well, she then says she's kind of scared to do anything. This is where Yang managed to grab her from the bird, trying to hit her with a kind of like, what's it called, feather. But this is where RWBY says, what? Yang says, sis, stop blinking out for a second. Margin would be fine. This is where, well, RWBY says, but this is where, well, Margin screams out saying, you should stop worrying about me, RWBY. Rose, I'm fine. Yeah. This was only nothing but a small wound. This is where, well, Margin does kind of see RWBY and even saw some tears dropping her before the feather almost hit her. But yeah, this is where, well, Margin for some reason got a flashback of someone else standing right next to her. Well, mostly standing next to RWBY, a girl with bluish hair, and kind of always had this kind of like, somewhat secure, or not security, mostly like secretary suit and all that. This was Judge P, and of course her real name was, I forgot. But yeah, this is where, well, she was always worried about Margin Park and a lot of things, even ever since he tries to become a god and all that. But of course, she was always extremely worried about Margin Park. But of course, well, Margin Park always seems to not really care about her, but did have a kid with her. But of course, that kid almost died and all that. He was a Generation X somewhat, or not really. But yeah, this is what, well, Margin Parks kind of does tell that to RWBY about just trying to give her to kind of give up on him, but mostly. But yeah, this is where RWBY kind of does give up, well, not give up on him, but mostly understands that, well, Margin is fine. This is where, for some reason, Margin then has this kind of weird glow around him that, well, he then sees this ghost figure or whatever. It kind of looks like a ghost figure, but really what it looks like to him, it looks like, well, what's it called? Well, it looks to be, well, Morty Jim. This is where Morty Jim smiles at him. This is where Margin says, Morty? This is where, well, Morty says, hey, Margin, it's been a while. This is where, well, Margin says, this is where, well, he's right now still in his teenager form, but for some reason, he's right now imaginary Morty. And Morty says, it's not like you to kind of space out. Aren't you supposed to be some kind of god or something? That's where Margin says, oh, fuck off, you brat. I am a god. I won't lose to this bastard. This is where the spider dares to try attack again. Margin jumps away, but this is where he kind of grabs the dust that's right now in his coat, and of course, mostly like in his pocket. He grabs it, he cracks it, he throws it up in the sky, and of course, this is where clouds started rumbling. This is where, oh, the director says, huh, dust. And that's definitely Weiss's dust kind of collection or whatever. This is where, well, the mistress says, what is happening? This is where, well, lightning started striking down to the ground. And this is where, well, Margin says, I only figured this out a while ago. When I was training, when I was at least 14 or 13. Don't worry about it. This is where, well, lightning is crackling around. And this is where lightning just strikes down straight towards Margin. And this is where Ruby says, Margin! This is where, well, everyone was actually kind of shocked to see lightning actually about to strike Margin, because the dust actually was only supposed to strike the area around where Margin sat. But of course, where lightning was about to strike Margin, this is where Margin says, borrow power, Zeus. This is where a ghost figure appears, and Zeus just grabs the lightning from the sky. Right now, just grabbing that shit. And this is where, well, Margin Park has borrow power. I know in original canon he doesn't, or well, what's it called in the webtoon, but yeah, for right now he does have it. For some reason he's able to kind of unlock borrow power. This is what he says: lightning strike, heavenly. What's it called? He says heavenly style, lightning strike of Zeus wrath. This is where he's Zeus figure kind of senses lightning attack straight to the spider. Of course, this lightning is kind of purely in this golden color. And of course, it hits the spider and blasts the spider to hell. This is where, well, the spider's just destroyed in an instant. Mostly his body, not the legs. The legs started disappearing later. And this is where, well, Margin's right now breathing in hard. And of course, at least I did that. Oh shit. This is where Margin actually passes out. This is where Ruby, Ashley, and her team managed to cut the Grim that's right now able to fly, but yeah. This is where Ruby says, yes! This is where, well, they all land down, and of course, this is where Ruby does kind of rush it to Margin side, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into a time skip. Yes, what's it called? The others, like Aizen and the others, managed to get to Margin because they were shocking. Well, not shocking to see Margin's power, but yeah, I was just, what the fuck was that? But yeah, Mara says, was that Susano? Hold up, bitch. Wait a minute. But yeah. This is where, well, Margin's eyes did kind of go into a reddish color for a second, but then it just disappeared. But yeah, when he was fighting against the, well, Giant Grim. But of course, this is where we go into kind of this announcement about the teams. RWBY contains of, well, mostly, first it was Winchester or whatever the hell his name was again, and then it was his team, and then there was Jupiter with what's it called, John's team, and then there was RWBY's team with what's it called, RWBY, just containing RWBY, but yeah, the leader would be RWBY, John would be the other leader, and of course it then goes into the team of 5 people, which people are shocked to see 5 people on one team, but of course it contains of S, wait, let me remember, okay, it's S, M, V, M, D. So yeah, Swan then or whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but yeah, it's mostly the leader of this team will be, well, not Virgil, Aizen. This is where, well, everyone was shocked. This is where all of us glare at Aizen because they do not want to follow this motherfucker. But yeah, they're all hoping being on a team by themselves. But this is where, well, the director leader kind of says that Margin will probably be on the team by himself if Margin it's because he says that usually 4-man squad, but if there's more people next year to be, well, what's it called, kind of bring back or brought into, what's it called, Beacon, then Margin will have his own team. This is where all of them glares at Margin for a second. Margin looks at them, flips them off, and doesn't give a shit. This is where that says, you mother! This is where, well, Margin managed to dodge some of them, but yeah. This is where, well, they all walk away, but yeah, still Madara and Doflamingo are pissed, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into the next day. Mostly it's like mostly the bedrooms and all that, mostly the dorms or whatever, but yeah. And one dorm is, well, not dome, the door, whatever, one of those rooms, door rooms or whatever, it does have what's called Madara and the others in one room, and then Margin in a single room. Yes, Margin is actually in a different fucking, well, place of, well, the dorm rooms and all that, but of course, no, dorm rooms, but yeah. He's actually sharing, actually, what's it called? There's like, there's 3 doors in one dorm room. Well, not dorm room, but mostly like the hallway and all that. And of course, one place is John's team, the other one is Ruby's team, and the other one is kind of, well, Margin's room. This is where Margin does have a room by himself, but this is where he doesn't really care. He can actually plan things easier without the others being annoying to him. So yeah, Margin's somewhat on that team, but it's kind of if what's it called, the director wants to put it on a team on him, or wants to put just Margin on a single team. But yeah, so it's a little iffy. But yeah, this is where, well, we go into kind of the well, Ruby being in class and all that. Margin's in the same kind of class of Ruby with what's it called, Weiss, kind of Yang, and also Blake. But yeah, Margin doesn't see the others being in this kind of classroom. But yeah, this is where, well, it's mostly like a classroom with this guy kind of like saying about his life and all that, being a hunter and all that, fighting against these Grims. But yeah, but of course, well, the director says, who wants to go first to fight against this Grim? This is where, well, Weiss kind of raised up her hand and all that, and this is where, well, Ruby says, go Weiss. This is where Margin was actually also raising up his hand, and this is where, well, the director says, I will let you go second, Margin. Will that be fine? Margin says, of course it is, sir. This is where, well, Weiss does manage to defeat the boar. Of course, she's tired a little bit, but yeah, because of Ruby's kind of annoyance or whatever. But yeah, of course, where, well, next is Margin, and this is where Weiss kind of glares at Ruby. But yeah, and this is where Ruby says, this is where Ruby kind of cheers on Margin, and Margin, he kind of fights against the boar, and this is where the boar rushes at him because another one appears. Because, well, yeah, even though there's one cage, he managed to get another cage, but don't worry. This is where Grim rushes at Margin. This is where Margin, he kind of sees the boar rushing at him, and this is where the boar gets close. Freaking Margin just kicks the shit out of the boar, launching it up, and this is where Margin then puts his like hand, mostly his hand flat, and just palm strike the boar in the stomach, saying heavenly crossing spear. This is where, well, the boar gets a giant cross through, well, his belly to the back, and of course, where, well, he is right now being obliterated. That's where, Margin says, was that easy? Was that good, sir? That's what the sir, mostly the teacher says, very interesting, Margin. You don't have weapons, but still, your abilities are strong. Very strong. That's where Ruby says, good job, Margin. Margin says, yeah. Of course, for some reason, the face color goes pink a little bit, but not the point. Of course, well, we go into, well, Weiss and Ruby kind of talking it out. This is where Ruby does talk to the director, and this is where Margin kind of walks into the speech and just walks away. But this is where, well, before he walks away, the director wants to talk to, well, Margin. Margin says, I didn't do shit, fuck. This is where, well, director does mostly talk to Margin about his abilities and how they're actually used. And he did want to talk to the others. It's just they avoid his eye contact most of the time. That's where Margin explains a little bit how his abilities work. Borrow power is something that he accidentally spilled out just because he's an idiot and didn't actually pay attention about it. This is where, well, the director says, borrow power. What an interesting ability you have. This is where, oh, Margin says, that I meant my ability, not borrow. No. This is where the director says, you're trying to cover it up. What an interesting thing you're trying to do. This is where, well, Margin says, whatever. This is where, oh, the director says, interesting. Well, you can go back. This is where Margin says, there's nothing wrong. This is what, well, we go into, well, the next day and all that. The next day is kind of, mostly John getting defeated by Winchester, but yeah, of course, well, Winchester does bully John a lot, but yeah. This is what, well, they are right now in the cafeteria. This is where Winchester, whatever the goddamn guy is, that buff dude, whatever, the brownish hair, not black hair, brownish hair. Of course, he's right now bullying, well, a girl with kind of like bunny ears, and this is where, well, the girl says, please stop pulling my ears. This is where the Winchester says, see, they're actually real. This is where, well, Margin does get up from his chair, mostly wherever he was sitting, and says, hey, dumbass. This is where Winchester says, huh? You said something about that? Black hair brat with those pointy ears, or pointy hair thing. You look like a goddamn demon. This is where Margin says, oh, I look like a demon. At least I don't look like some kind of retarded fuck. This is where Margin doesn't give a shit about pissing off this guy. This guy really pisses him off because the reason why this guy pisses him off is from the fun fact that this guy kind of looks like that one dude with red hair that kind of looks like a gang boss or whatever and tried to always get money from Majin. But yeah, but Majin ripped him to fucking shreds in that. One time, if you haven't read that one webtoon chapter, yeah, he fucking fucked up that one dude. Being a Supreme God and all that. But yeah, that's where Majin says, "Look here, you dirtbag. I think you should stop hurting the, well, girl who is a fondness. I think that's what they're called, fondness or whatever. This is where the guy says, and you're gonna just protect them? They're wild creatures. They're supposed to be nothing but dirt. This is where Margin says, okay, I'll give you 2 seconds before I beat the fuck out of you and break all your bones. This is where Ruby was actually about to step in until, the guy says, me? Stop. So screw you. He tries to punch at Majin. Majin, he blocks his arm by kind of grabbing it. And of course, Majin says, okay, you really like your bones being broken. Got you. Yeah, okay. This is where Majin, he twists this guy's arm up in the air, smashing him to the ground. And this is where, Majin fucking kicks the guy in the face. But this is where his other team start fighting against Majin. Majin's right now dodging. This is where Majin fucking, palm strikes someone in the stomach. Then fucking elbow someone in the stomach also. Uppercutted someone in the chin, but yeah, he's easily taking out this team without using it as weapons. He's basically beating the shit out of them with hand-to-hand combat. Right now, they're fighting against a martial art user, or should I say, a genius battle user, because yes, Majin Park was originally that, but also someone that can use borrowed power. But he's not using borrowed power right now. Majin's right now beating the shit out of them with just not taijutsu, mostly hand-to-hand combat style of kind of Taekwondo, I fucking forgot almost all the different types. But yeah, of course he also does recoilless kicks and all that. So of course he manages to kick the shit out of some of them. And this is where all of them, mostly the lower team of Winchester are right now knocked down. This is where Winchester gets up and says, "Why, you bastard!" This is where Winchester managed to pull out his weapon, his mostly not weapon exactly, mostly a knife, because he has it just in case people ever piss him off. He rushes at Majin and tries to stab him. This is where Majin dodges, and this is where Majin says, "I see. So you dare to actually try to take me out with a pathetic knife." That's where Majin hates humans. Yes, he still has that hatred of humans and all that. But of course he's trying to get better, but it's just it's kind of iffy in that. This is where, Majin dodges some of the swing of the knives, and this is where Ruby says, we should help him. Yang says, yeah, we should. But holy shit, he's easily dodging that. Aizen, who right now stands up and says, you should probably not move. He's got this. This is where, Ruby says, how can you be confident in, Majin to be able to take out a knife? Don't know. Just feel confidence. This is where, Yang says, feeling confidence is not the same thing. Well, not Yang, mostly Weiss. And this is why, the red-haired girl was about to jump into this battle to try to stop both of them. But this is where, Aizen says Doflamingo. Doflamingo managed to use his strings just to trap her before able for her to move. This is where she says, what? No, I can't. This is where Doflamingo says, sorry there, little girl. You're not doing any of that. This is where, Doflamingo did also use the strings just to trap them also, and this is where, he says, no, stop this. This is where, Majin is right now dodging knife attack. This is where the bunny girl is trying to, get one of the misters and teachers and all, or whatever, just a teacher and all, before any of this got bloody and all. And this is where Majin does get stabbed on his arm, but mostly just a cut, and does just jump away. And this is where, Majin's on one of the tables, while Winchester's on the other table. This is where Winchester says, I managed to stab you a little bit. You weren't that good. Man, you not using any weapons is kind of pathetic, don't you think? I don't know why they got you in here. Just for being some pathetic, idiotic brat. Majin gets kind of annoyed. And for some reason, that's when he says, I'm a pathetic, idiotic brat, and I'll kick your ass. Sending you straight to hell, bastard. This is what, Majin's eyes kind of goes into, red and then has a yellow cross. And there's one eye does go into it. This is where a little fragment of some kind of crown appears around what's called, mostly like this kind of ring or whatever appears near what's called Majin's head. Of course, it's kind of white, but of course it's kind of having broken pieces. It's floating up and all that. And this is where, Majin says, I'm gonna fucking kill you, bastard. That's where, well, Martian's back does have like this reddish wing, but of course it's barely even lighting up. That's where Martian's hiss, the one that has a cross, kind of become this kind of like whitish color for some reason. It's where, well, he then says, this is where he says, this is where Margin in his head says, fundamental force, fundamental force mastery. This is where he uses all 5 force elements like gravity, weak force, strong force, or whatever, like what Joy Han kind of used on like one of the chapters to fight against one god or a little bit, or kind of one of the newest gods that Martian Park kind of used. And this is where, well, for some reason, Margin Park kind of knows it because he was kind of Supreme God and nothing. And this is where, well, he says, fuck you. This is where, well, he wants just to kill the scumbag. And this is where, well, for some reason, this is where Ruby screams out Margin to stop. And this is where Margin does, but of course his punch still goes through, but it doesn't hit this guy in the face. Instead, behind this guy's body, because there's like a shockwave, destroys a giant hole of, well, the cafeteria. Like a hole of the cafeteria has a giant hole. Boom! This is where, well, a bunch of people almost got blasted away, but luckily they didn't. And they're like, holy shit! This is where a giant hole appears in our margin. He actually stopped, but this is where, well, he wanted to destroy this guy. He was pissed. Die, human. He said in his just anger tone when he was actually about to punch this guy. This is where, well, Ruby was kind of crying, telling Margin to stop. This is where when the director and even the mistress got there, they were like, holy shit, there's a giant hole. This is where Eisen was surprised. Something powerful like that Margin was in his original strength that powerful. But right now it's only a broken piece of power. This is where Bottle says, what the fuck? This is where Dopamine says, damn. This is where he lets go of his strength just so they wouldn't kind of blame him, but yeah. This is where Ruby kind of rushes up to, well, what's it called? Margin, because Margin's arm is all kind of torn up in pieces. Well, not torn up in pieces, mostly all broken and just twisting in all them turns. This is where Margin's like, ah, son of a bitch. This is what, well, he kind of passes out just passing out from the energy. Because yes, the fundamental what's called fundamental forces mastery that Joy Han kind of used still fucked up his arm, and mostly it was the kind of cloak of the Jade Emperor armor kind of the reason why it was not that fucked up, but yeah. But of course, this is where, well, what's it called? Jim Park. Well, yeah, not Jim. Margin Jim. Yeah, Margin doesn't have what's called the like Jade Emperor cloak or anything, not armor. So of course it was just him fucking up his arm. But of course it worked well. It's being healed slowly, but yeah. That's where, well, the director says, Winchester, come to my office. The guy just passes out having a blood news, but yeah, from the fact that holy shit, there was a wind, like a what's it called, a wave, and there was a shock. What's it called? Think of it when like a speed, like a what's it called, jet plane goes up to high speeds, and like a shock kind of happens, like a what was it called? A sound boom, like yeah, one of those sound booms. Yeah, it was like that, but it was like the power of that attack was like about like 10 sound booms. And of course, where if what's it called, Margin didn't stop his punch close to an inch towards the car, Winchester would have been obliterated, destroyed in an instant. But of course, it was only a shock boom, and Margin's arm didn't get ripped and torn to shreds. But yeah, even worse if he managed to connect with that guy. Of course, it still fuck up his arm, but yeah. That's where, well, we go into, well, Ruby kind of being next to, well, Margin's kind of like bed a little bit. This is where Eisen says to tell, well, mostly tells Ruby that the others can do this and she can go back to her team or something. Mostly they would look after him. This is where, well, Doflamingo, he was already getting ready to use his like strings because he knows that he's going to somehow fix what's called Margin's arm. And of course, to work Madara, he knows a little bit about healing. This is where the same with what's it called, Eisen, he knows a little bit about healing and the Hados and Kidos or whatever. But yeah, of course, he's not the greatest healer, but yeah, they can try to heal him. And that's where, well, Virgil can just use demonic healing to try to heal Majin's fucking broken arm. Fucked up arm, but yeah. Of course, this is where RWBY didn't want to go, and this is where, well, Majin opened his eyes and, what the hell happened? This is where, well, they said that you fuck up your arm, and it's still hurting. This is where Majin says, no, it's not. Holy, oh, he passes out just from the fact his arm is all fucked up. This is where, well, they say, yeah, we got this. This is where, well, RWBY didn't want to go, but of course, this is where, well, Madara, I put an illusion on her just to kind of get her out of here. But yeah, this is where RWBY managed to get out and says, wait, what the hell? This is where, well, they close the door just so she doesn't get back in. RWBY says, you mother. This is where, well, they all try to heal his arm just because, yes, it's our team, and then they shouldn't fucking let him die. But yeah, even though the Flamingo wanted to just cut the arm and say, fuck it, let's just do that. This is where all of them say no. But yeah, of course, well, Majin arm did heal after a while, but yeah. Of course, this is where, well, Winchester doesn't actually bully John or anyone else because he's just scared of fighting against Majin Park. Majin Park could have easily obliterated him with his just left arm. That's why Majin's arm came back to heal and all that, but it still happened to be in a what to call, just casket. Of course, where, well, Winchester always just gets scared, or whatever the guy's name exactly is. But yeah, this is where the director and even the mistress did tell Majin not to do something crazy like that again. But yeah, of course, after all that, they kind of had to go on a field trip to kind of get, well, this kind of liquid and all that. Of course, Majin was in his room before, well, pancakes were kind of served to him. This is where mostly the orange hair girl says, yeah, pancakes. This is where, well, because he can't really go into the field trip because his arm is all fucked up. This is where, well, RWBY kind of wanted to at least make him feel happy and all that. This is where Weiss and Blake says, do we really have to be here and all that to kind of help him out, eat? RWBY, I think he can eat by himself. You don't need to force him to eat. This is where RWBY is actually trying to force us to call Majin to eat. This is where Majin says, you know, I can still use one of my arms. This is where RWBY says, yeah, I forgot. This is where, well, Majin kind of smiles a little bit just because, well, it does remind him so much of Judge P. Well, RWBY's kind of person a little bit, but yeah, just a little bit, not much. This is where, well, Majin just says, but still, I'm fine. This is where, oh, he says, I'm fine, my arm doesn't hurt. This is where, well, the orange hair girl says, if it doesn't hurt, then poke. This is where Majin says, yeah, it doesn't hurt a little bit. Nope. Okay, it still fucking hurts. This is where, well, she says, so it does hurt. Majin says, yeah, just don't worry about it. This is where RWBY says, okay. Well, bye, friend. This is where, well, all of them got out of his room, but yeah. Majin kind of just smiled a little bit, but says, interesting. So, is this what friends are? Or human friends, mostly? I guess companions and other things aren't that bad. Don't you think? Morty Jim. A ghost spirit of Morty Jim appears, right now smiling at Majin. That's where, well, Majin does have what's it called. When he did get defeated by Morty Jim, it's mostly, if you haven't read the latest kind of like chapter of what's called. If you use those coins to kind of unlock it, then yeah, it wouldn't be the latest. But if you haven't read the kind of latest that kind of just got out, I think yesterday, like the latest chapter, then you won't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, what I'm talking about is the fact that Morty Jim and, well, Majin kind of went to different sides of the God path and all them other things. So of course, this is where Majin just wants to kind of go into the right path and not go into the wrong path, just like he did in his past year, well, not past year, past life. This is where, well, he kind of just smiles towards Morty Jim, but yeah, this is where Morty Jim smiles back, mostly the ghost figure, and disappears the ghost figure. This is where Majin says, well, it's time for me to eat the pancakes. He eats them and it's pretty good, but yeah. This is where I'm going to leave it off here for part 2 of what if 5 menaces were sent into RWBY. But yeah, I should also mention what is the others doing is mostly they're going to go to the field trip. This is where Madara just trained and trying to use his eyes better. But yeah, almost all of them are trying to get their abilities better. Because they're kind of not trying to be left behind by Majin Park. But yeah. Aizen, he's just still being a manipulator. But yeah. But other than that, have a nice potato day, potato night, potato soup, potato, and good night. And I took about an hour and I had to go somewhere. Son of a bitch. I hope this isn't late. Bye.